a mini cycle track and a mini cycle race. Well, I'll tell you what, these mini cycles prove it to us each and every time as the gate is down on this one. And we'll get you a Hole Shot Award winner, the Stasic Stability Cycle Hole Shot Award to the number 45, Colby Goff from Browns Valley, California. Now, he gets that hole shot, but the question is, will he have the early lead? So far, through the first 3 races today, these riders have not had the early lead at the end of the first lap. They get the hole shot, but somebody else is able to thread needles and take over the lead.
Exactly what happened right there, Rodney. Goff able to get that early hole shot, but sure enough, by the time they got to the short chutes, one of our KTM riders has overtaken him and actually starting to pull away just a bit as they work their way back into Storyland. So the early hole shot not really paying off for Goff so far, but what it does do is it puts him in good position to get a solid finish moving through the championship.
Well, there's several 85cc 10 to 12-year-old limited class riders that could be considered threats down here this year. Obviously, Drew Adams coming into this one out of Chattanooga, Tennessee, Team Green Kawasaki Pro Circuit Dunlop Answer. Bell Renthal rider. He came away with a second-place position at the end of last year's championship, and we'll see how things are faring for him here in the 2020 season without the class winner from last year in that one. You would think that he is the heir apparent, but we know how this game at Loretta Lynn's works. What appears to be one thing we know can often change, as we do see the number 2 up front, but he's in the number 2 spot behind that number 40 machine. Well, that might be Colby. No, it's 46. The 46 of Luke Bowser. See, there's another one of those KTM Orange Brigade riders that comes out. And, of course, with that, he opens up the early lead. Adams back in second-place position. And Bowser's another one of those riders that could be considered a championship contender in this class. Travis Pine back in the number 3 spot. The 17, Kate Johnson in 4th. Landon Gordon, the number 80 in 5th. Colby Goff, who got the hole shot, dropping all the way back to 6th. And that has been kind of traditional here. They drop through the top 5 on that first lap of racing for whatever reason. I don't know if that getting themselves angled in and getting that across that hole shot strike first or not. What, you know, that angle's not setting them up good for the second turn where the passes are really made over there through the hole shot forest.
And that's the thing, Rodney. You stated it right there. You got to make it work for 2 quick corners. The first turn is actually so short.
Right.
You know, it's a 90, and by the time you do that, you're already in that left-hander. And if you go just a bit inside with that hole shot, which is how you got it, Luke Fowler carrying that momentum around the outside, going to put you away.
That's it. Fowler out front. Adams, Pine, Johnson, Landon Gordon in 5th. Colby Goff in 6th. Kalina Humphrey in 7th. Dominic Stallings in 8th. Jaden Palmer in 9th aboard the 84 KTM. Rounding out the top 10 is Austin Schaefer. Then 11 through 20 here on lap number 1. And this top 20 update being brought to you by your friends at Oakley Eyewear. Be sure and stop over and check out the great display of Oakley goggles and glasses. And check out the optics as well, because they are certainly miles ahead of the rest of the game. The 71 of Eli Gross in the 11th place position. Tyler Mollett, the number 20, is 12th. The number 11, Jeremy Rowe, 13th. Clark Robbins, the 62, and 14th. The 92, Everett Clark, is 15th. The 72, Jamison Muchler, is 16th. Reese Wheaton, the 34, in 17th. 18th, the 39, Cody Wells. 19th, Cody Harrington, the 22. And the number 20 of Alvin Hillen, rounding out that top 20.
Well, right now, it's all Luke Fowler. That guy's on rails right now. You know, we've watched him for many, many years, past champion as well. And getting a little bit of heat right now from Drew Adams. Luke making a small bobble back there on the in the sand section, giving Adams a bit of a break right there. Only 1.3 this time around. So that number 46 going to start feeling the heat of that number 2 machine any minute. Look at this, riding defensively right now as we're headed back into the trees, going down into that short chute. And Fowler has his hands full with that number 2 Kawasaki. Travis Pine not letting these guys, though, in view just about 4 seconds back. But he's got his hands hands full with Cade Johnson and Landon Gordon only 2 seconds back apiece. And look at that number 73 of Kalina Humphrey. Let me tell you, always in the mix, Humphrey is.
No doubt about it.
Always.
Adams in that number 2 spot. You look at the lap times there, a 2:03.5, a 2:03.4. Bowser, though he has a 1.3 second lead, you know he's singing that Johnny Cash song going on right now. I hear the train a-coming.
That's
and
right.
that train is the Chattanooga Chew Drew there out of Chattanooga, Tennessee. Drew Adams in that second place position. Third place, again, Travis Pine. But we're watching this battle in that number 1 position as these leaders now making their way toward that Monster Energy sweeper turn there. And something to point out, there is a viewing deck available. That's a public viewing deck. You folks are more than welcome to head on over there. Also, over in that first turn, public viewing deck.
Yep.
We got a public viewing deck here from Monster Energy. Now, you got to wear your mask when you go on there. That's a mandatory
MMC.
mask. That's it. And then, of course, we've got the upper deck right here next to the announcer's tower. That deck is for family members only whose riders are on the track during that moto. So you got to have passes and stuff to get up on that top deck. But viewing decks everywhere. Again, social distancing protocols are in full force and full effect here today at Loretta Lynn's as we wrap up now lap number 3. And here comes that battle still for the number 1 spot. Not much of a change here as Luke Bowser still remains the man out front, maybe even gaining a little bit of time on Adams that third time around. Now the gap just over 2 seconds as we see a 2:03.3. About 0.7 of a second faster was Bowser that time than Adams on lap 3. Travis Pine in third, Cade Johnson fourth, Landon Gordon rounding out that top 5 still megawatt.
Yeah, and when you take a look at these lap times, you got to realize we're only 3 laps into this one, Rodney. So that gap of 2 seconds between Adams and Bowser, you may see that for a few laps. Rider down here, I was wondering if that was Humphrey, but Humphrey already came through, still holding down that number 6 spot. So hovering right there, just about half a second back out of that top 5 is the number 73 machine. But Colby Goff rides in 7th, Eli Gross in that number 8 spot, Clark Robbins sitting right back there in 9th. Jaden Palmer holds on to that top 10 position, only about 2 seconds back behind Clark Robbins. And Austin Schaefer, he wants in there. He's less than a second behind that number 10 position of Jaden Palmer.
Well, Everett Deegan, the 92 ride, is the rider that was having the issues in that final turn down there. Several riders getting by. He was inside the top 20. By the time he got out of it, he had dropped all the way back to 27th place position. Tough break for Everett Clark, but you know he's going to have his head down, charging, trying to make things happen. I see a couple of other riders, Maximo Vasquez, Madden Jones, also back there in the 29 and 30 place position.
Mims.
Yeah, those are names that we can expect. Wyatt Bass also the number 12, 34th place position back there. So we got a few things kind of turned around here. Noah Voss also back there in the 39th place position. So a lot of things flipped around and turned around as far as this first moto is concerned. And here we go with the battle up front, and it has become a battle because we got a new leader. Watching all the other action, we missed what happened up front, but Drew Adams has taken over the lead now.
Bowser trying to answer.
Coming up side by side, making that final drive toward the finish line, and lap number 4 now complete. As we have a new leader, man. Adams, it looked like Adams was kind of settling into that pace, and I was getting ready to make that statement that, he's comfortable where he's at right now. He's going to feel this out for a couple of laps and then put on a push. And I think kind of what happened, I think Bowser must have opened the door, the window of opportunity. Lap time represents a 2:05.4, so a mistake that cost at least 3 seconds for Luke Bowser takes him back into the number 2 spot. Now, about a second off pace.
Yeah, he went from 2.2 up to 0.8 under now, so that's exactly 3 seconds in a matter of that lap. And Adams is running almost the exact same lap time he did, so the mistake was Bowser's.
Exactly. Travis Pine still back in the number 3 spot. We see 10.8 seconds. In 4th place, Cade Johnson, Landon Gordon still rounding out the top 5. Kalina Humphrey still back in there. Kalana Humphrey still back in the number 6 spot. Colby Goff dropping to 7th place now. Eli Gross in 8th place aboard the 71 KTM, and Clark Robbins.
I believe he's down.
Robbins down here in front of the announcers.
I believe Eli Gross is laying down here. Let me double check that real quick.
All righty, so as Megawatt checks that out, if that be the case, then we see some things changing in the standings right now. Enzo Timmerman back in the number 11 spot now, as we see Logan Mortberg also part of the top 20. So we'll do another assessment of things here in a lap or so. should be nearing that halfway point of this race, if not just past it. Trying to look down at our finish line flagger. Can't see if he's got the cross flags out yet or not. They may have gone back in by now, but regardless, at the near midway point of this race, I see 8 minutes. We're about 8 minutes in, so we probably see the cross flags this time. So the battle is back on, and Bowser's trying to make up that time that he lost on lap number 4 there, Jason. It was Bowser out front. He had a little over 2-second lead and seemed to be stretching things out over Drew Adams. And then on lap 4, he had a little bit of an issue, dropped it to a 2:05 lap time. Bowser drops to second. Adams moves into the number 1 spot. Here's the interesting point to ponder on this one. Lap times for both those riders very consistent at near that 2:05 point that time. They both dropped 3 seconds since the start of this race, and they're battling at that 2:05 pace now.
Yeah, that is interesting to see that their lap times have dropped that much. Track getting rougher. There it is. Bowser trying to make it happen. We got the long short shoot coming up before the 10 Commandments. He's on that Orange Brigade KTM. Adams on the Team Green Kawasaki. Headed to the 10 Commandments. Well, Drew Adams did something right back there. He was able to actually stretch it back out. That outside line, do the twisties after the start looks tempting, and you see the rider get a good run in, but then when they pop back into view, they actually end up losing more ground at the end than they gained going in, and Adams takes advantage of that, stretch it back out as they head into Storyland. Travis Pine has had a solid but lonely ride in third for most of this one, but he could be under pressure soon. You got the Yamaha man, Cade Johnson, not too far back in fourth, and then it's Landon Gordon in fifth in the Suzuki. Kelana Humphrey sixth, Colby Goff, Enzo Timmerman, Clark Robbins, and Jaden Palmer rounding out your top 5. But right now, Drew Adams trying to get it done. Go ahead, Megawatt.
Tough break for the number 71 of Eli Gross. He was up there in about 4th position, maybe 5th position. Clipped the rear wheel right here, took a big digger, and not going to be able to finish this one. Good news is, looked like he's basically up under his own power, but definitely rung his bell. So tough break for the number 71, Eli Gross.
Will Canaguire back in the number 16 spot, another rider that we've watched grow up through the ranks of the Loretta Lynn's experience and process here. The number 70 trying to work his way through the pack. Reese Wheaton also back there in 17th place position. As we said, we'll take a look at your top 20 overall after 5 and at the halfway point. And we'll do that, as we said, once again, this top 20 rundown being brought to you by your friends at Polysport Plastic Replacement Plastics. Be sure and check those great folks out. Drew Adams, Luke Bowser, Travis Pine, Cade Johnson, Landon Gordon, Kelana Humphrey, Colby Goff in 7th, Enzo Timmerman in 8th, Clark Robbins 9th, Jaden Palmer rounding out the top 10. Then Logan Mortberg 37 and 11th, Austin Schaefer 36 and 12th, Alvin Hillen in 13th, Dominic Stallings the 66 and 14th, the 11 of Jeremy Rowe in 15th, the number 70 Will Canaguire in 16th, Reese Wheaton the 34 and 17th, Tyler Mollett the number 20 and 18th, Chase Lawton I should say, the number 60 and 19th, and it's Cason Little rounding out the top 20 on board the 99 after 5 laps complete.
Well, just as quickly as Bowser caught back up to Adams, he lost that ground again. That was another bad one, a 2:07. They left the 10 Commandments probably about 2 seconds between them. They came back into view, 5 seconds between them. So Adams has pulled it back away now on that Kawasaki, the number 2. And I know last year, kind of chasing the Hayden Deegan, Daxton Bennett group, but he was a year younger, so he gets to come out here with that number 2 plate, still eligible for this 10 to 12 limited class. And these kids know, and the teams do as well, what year you've got to perform. And Drew Adams got the target, and he has performed to those expectations now with a big lead. I think that's him coming into view in the Sand Sweeper.
Yeah, and he's just been so solid in this moto. The thing about it is, Bowser got out there, he was running really fast, but I believe he shot himself in the foot twice. Both mistakes resulted in 4 seconds or so in the lap time. Drew's lap time was so consistent, so what that tells me, if Bowser's dropping 3 or 4 seconds on a single lap, that we blew a berm, we got stuck somewhere, something.
Yeah, now you see the leader of the number 2 coming back into view in the announcer's tower. So Drew Adams trying to just hold this one down and put it away. And we look forward to Bowser trying to make things happen in the second moto. Distant second place now.
Yeah. Well, like I said, Drew Adams extremely consistent. Looking across the board, the fastest lap, a 2:02. And look at this, he's turning a 2:03 on lap number 6. So that's pretty consistent right there. That's going to keep you up front at Loretta's. And I think... Wait. How's it show Bowser up front? We just saw Adams go by.
Adams down right before the final turn. Here he comes now on board the number 2 machine.
Oh, so there was a different Cowie that went by. Gotcha.
Yeah, so remember we talked about this final turn being...
Dude, it's a killer.
It is. And Drew Adams falls victim to it. Not only that, he loses several positions in the process, all the way back now to a 4th place position. So Travis Pine up to 2nd. Landon Gordon, who was running in the number 5 spot, is now up to the number 3 position. It is Adams in 4th, Kate Johnson in 5th, Kalina Humphrey still 6th, Timmerman still in 7th, Colby Goff, we're waiting on that number 45 ride to check in. That should be your 8th place position rider right now as we, well, nope, it's going to be Clark Robbins with Alvin Hillen and Colby Goff rounding out the top 10. Well, I tell you what, lap 7 really brought a big change all the way through that top 10. Not only the leader, but we've seen several passes that have taken place. So this racetrack is certainly starting to take on what I believe is a very stout race pace. And, and man, I mean, you talk about the obstacles. You got the riders as some of your biggest competition, but this racetrack is also becoming a competitor as well, it looks like.
Listen, we said on last Thursday, the last corner, this last left-hander down here will decide motos and probably decide a championship. That corner, well, sure enough, Drew Adams comes through the Polysport sweeper about 2.5 seconds ahead of Fowler. We lose him in this frosted window right here. Next thing you know, Fowler's out front, and unfortunately for Adams, he's 3 spots back.
Wow, big turn of events, but continuing to roll on here on a Tuesday morning. Moto 1 as we roll through the 39th annual Monster Energy AMA Amateur National Motocross Championship. Welcome to RacerTV.com of LLMX Live here from Hurricane Mills, Tennessee. Once again, Rodney Tomlin, Megawatt Matt Watson, Jason Wygant, Kevin Kelly now joining us from DMXS Radio in the tower as well. We got Wes Kane at leisure in the tower as well as carte blanche. As I told him last night, I said, dude, you got carte blanche as far as we're concerned. You're welcome to come up anytime as riders continue to roll here in the 10 to 12 limited class. As we pointed out, it was early lead there by Fowler and Drew Adams. They had themselves a good battle going on. Fowler actually making a mistake. I believe it was on the second or third lap. And when he made that mistake, then Drew Adams got by. And, you know, we were kind of anticipating that to happen, but we kind of looked like that Drew was going to lay back, just kind of let the race come to him. But the mistake was made by Fowler, so he capitalized. Late in the race, something happening in this these final turns. He goes down. He loses his lead, and not only the lead, but you look and you add up the time right here. We're looking at a 17-second gap, a 17-second loss that he lost from Fowler. He was leading Fowler, and then all of a sudden, he's 17 seconds behind.
From the time he hit the ground till Fowler went across, it took 17, almost 18 seconds to recover.
So that's it. That's quite a bit. There's no doubt. Fowler, again, we're watching for this rider. Lap 8 in the history books, working on lap number 9. The 2-lap board is out. We'll see a white flag coming out. And Fowler winding his way through these turns now and heading toward the heart of this race course. And of course, we all know the heart of it is right here in front of this announcer's tower. When you come into this last section, heading into that big sandy sweeping turn in front of Polysport Beach here at and then that final turn, this is where things really get super exciting as far as the battling is concerned. White flag in hand, white flag waving. One more lap to go as these leaders make their way by. Fowler appearing to be in some traffic out there as we see his lap time drop to a 2:09.8, nearly a 10-second or a 2:10, 2 minute and 10-second lap time there. Gordon in that second place position, nearly 15 seconds behind a lap ago at the end of lap number 9. He's 14.3. They turn nearly identical lap times. Adams now back up to a Moto medal position as he moves into the number 3 spot with a 2:07 lap time. He's also knocking on the door of Landon Gordon in that lap traffic out there for the second place position. So the Cowie and the Suzuki, the 80 and the number 2 coming at you through the whole shot forest right now, folks. And here we head into the twisties as Gordon, Adams, and is that Travis Pine not far behind, about 4 seconds back now, as he's watching these riders heading through the short chutes and into the 10 Commandments.
Not sure who that was, but somebody came up short right there early in the 10 Commandments, and I think gave up a couple positions. We couldn't get an ID on that, but I know it was one of our front runners. Might have been Pine, actually, to come up just a little short. White flag continues to fly, looking for Fowler right now. Should be seeing that 46 machine come back into view. And, wow, what a wild one we've had here. And holy cow, who was that down in that number 60 machine, I believe. But right now, looking for that number 46 machine, Luke Fowler. And he and Adams absolutely having a great battle. Each one taking a turn leading, each one getting a bit of a gap in the middle of this one. But right now, about 14 seconds is the lead for Luke Fowler. So going to put a win in the books here in Moto number 1 if he can keep that thing on 2 wheels for the last half a lap here. Get that thing to the checkered flag. Going to be sitting in great position for a championship.
Look at the lines in Storyland that are being written back there right now. That one jump, that last jump going into
ridiculous. Look at that.
12 lines on that one section right there, if I'm counting it right from this distance. Of course, my eyes aren't the best in the world, but even 8 or 10 lines is an amazing amount of lines. But, I mean, anywhere you go, when you've got a place to plant that front and rear tire and get yourself a good drive heading into those final back section turns in that Storyland area.
That looks like it could be Washougal.
Yeah.
During a Pro National. Seriously, that looks like that's what that could be back there. Just beautiful dirt, multiple lines, and like you said, if you can't find a place to stick the front end, then you're not looking for lines.
Oh, wow, checkers just came out.
Yeah, just came out.
Man, I was looking for Fowler coming out of that Storyland section. He was already ahead of that, and he slowed down to a 2:17 lap time that last time around. 4 seconds is all that separated he and Landon Gordon at the checkers. Drew Adams also dropping off that half-second pace. He was right there. Looked like he was trying to get around Gordon for that second-place position, but he holds on for third. So it's Fowler, the 46, taking the win. Landon Gordon, the 80 in second. Drew Adams in the number 3 spot. Kate Johnson in 4. Travis Pine in 5th. Alvin Hillen in 6th. Enzo Timmerman in the number 7 spot. Kalana Humphrey will be your 8th place position. Clark Robbins in 9th, and Logan Morberg will round out your top 10. Those are unofficial results. The official results will be posted. Make sure you check those. It is Humphrey, Robbins, Enzo, and Timmerman dropping out of the top 10, actually. Morberg up to 9th with Robbins in 8th. Austin Schaefer will get the 10th place position at the checker flag. And I'm not sure, but I think maybe Jason getting things ready down there on the podium.
Oh, yeah, we're good.
And with our Moto Medal winner. So let's head on down to the winner's circle where Jason Wygant stands by with the top 3 overall.
Get first place. We already got him up on the podium. You got your microphone there. Hard earned, a battle of some mistakes, but recovering well to take the gold. Let's hear it for Luke Fowler. Hey, take me through the moto.
Yeah, I got, I think, like a 3rd place start. And then for like the first 3 laps, me and Drew battled. And I decided to go double, triple in the 10 Commandments. I don't know why, and then I tried it again. I cased it. Drew passed me. And I think 3 laps later, Drew fell, and I just went for the win.
All right, who do you want to thank?
My mom, my dad, KTM Orange Brigade, Nate, PR2, Cernix, Troy Lee Designs, FMF, Matrix, Cernix, Dunlop, Brap Supply, Lynx, Rob Mitten, Dave Kilgore, Gary Semix, Pro Taper, and that's it.
Luke Fowler with a gold medal in a highly competitive 10 to 12 division. Good job, Luke. We'll bring up our 2nd place finisher, Landon Gordon with the silver. Come on up, 2nd place. And as everyone was battling all over the place, Landon was able to move from 4th to 3rd and then eventually 2nd on the RM Army. Number 80 Suzuki. Let's hear it for Landon Gordon. Man, that was a pretty wild moto. You had battles all over the place.
Yeah, that was a crazy race.
Who do you want to thank for it?
I'd like to thank the Lord for keeping me safe. My mom, dad, brother, sister, Suzuki RM Army, Monster Army, Fly, 100%, Olins, Alpine Stars, ASB, Robbie Renard for helping me before this race, Alpine Stars, and that's it.
All right, let's hear it for Landon Gordon. place. Coming up, Drew. Good salvage job for Drew Adams. Drew Adams had the lead for a while, went down, holds on for third. Let's hear it for Drew Adams. Walk right up to that microphone there. Drew, I know you're not happy you had the lead, but you salvaged third. What happened back there?
I just went down, couldn't get the bike cranked.
That's all right, but third place, you're still in title contention. You're going to come back fired up for the next two motos?
Yes, sir.
All right, who do you want to thank, Drew?
My mom, dad, Team Green Kawasaki, Matt Walker's Moto X Compound, and for God, thank you.
All right, let's hear it for Drew Adams on the Kawasaki, third place.